When you think of rappers and the illustrious careers they have, you can't help but wonder what happens to those guys that were in the position at one point. Today, we're looking at the biggest fall-offs in rap. To start, we must mention arguably the biggest fall-off in rap history, being Chance the Rapper. Chance, who is from Chicago, Illinois, built his career through mixtapes. From 10 Day to Coloring Book, he has always had his core fan base and the city of Chicago backing him up. And it was hard not to like him. He was a joyful guy and did good for the community. Not to mention that Acid Rap and the Coloring Book are some of the best mixtapes created, and honestly just authentic music packed into those mixtapes. This would be proven as the Coloring Book would win the best rap album of the year at the 2017 Grammys, making its mark being the first all-stream mixtape to win a Grammy. When it came time to release his first album, the spark was lost. The Big Day was released on July 26, 2019. And to put it simply, this album sucked. Yeah, I mean, this was not good. Chance struggled to find the character on this album that his previous mixtapes held. It was poorly put together and it just felt lazy. After this, Chance would fall hard. Things would start unraveling in his personal life, and this album just left an awful taste in people's mouths. Next, we move to Logic. Logic, being from Maryland, would have a tough upbringing, being surrounded by abuse, neglect, and drug addiction in his early stages of his youth. He would turn to music as an outlet from these traumatic things. Starting in 2009, Logic would just start putting raps together and slowly building a name for himself. Similar to Chance, Logic would gain his core fan base from mixtapes. This was around the time that mixtapes were on the tail end of their glory, I guess. Sticking to his core fan base and his underground rap, Logic would start getting buzz around hip-hop. Mixtapes like Under Pressure and The Incredible True Story would be his best work that he's put out, in my opinion. But in 2017, things would change. Logic would shift his style from underground creative raps to a more mainstream pop sound. Coming with the release of Everybody, there was a notable shift, but it would prove to be successful for Logic, and his song 1-800 would catapult him into mainstream. But just as quickly as he got there, he would fall out even faster. 1-800 would ultimately be the demise of Logic's career. Although initially grasping the attention of the casual listener, those fans would soon fade away and Logic would be left in the dust. Losing interest from the mainstream and disappointing his core fans, Logic would ultimately get in his own way and ruin what he had. A little resurgence with Homicide, but after that, no one would really speak of Logic. It has seemed to be getting to him, as he announced his retirement from rap in 2020, only to return a year later. Seems now that he's trying to fix what he created, going back to his old roots of releasing underground rap. But I mean, he has his core fans, but nowhere where he was before. Moving on over to the next fall off, and it's got to be Roddy Ricch. Roddy Ricch, being from Cali, would skyrocket to fame, maybe even a little too quickly. Roddy would rise to fame with his hit Die Young in 2018, along with his mixtape Feed the Streets, which came with hits off the mixtape, boosting the name of the young Compton rapper. Then everything would change for Roddy as he released his album Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial. Hits again would follow this album, but none bigger than The Box. I can't express how popular this song was. I mean, if you were there, you know everybody was playing this song. Every radio station, every reactor, everything was about The Box. And I can't remember where he went on, but he had that legendary orchestrated box song. I mean, this song was huge. It was huge, to put it simply. Unlike any other rap song at the time, Roddy's style was unique and his voice would shine through on this song, gaining accolades after another. The small buzz he had would volcano over into everyone listening to him. The rise to stardom was so fast that it ended up nabbing him in the butt. It seems like Roddy even knew his own fate. After this album and buzz, Roddy struggled to capitalize on it, waiting 2 years to release new music, and this would be a similar trend with him. And for a young rapper starting out, you can't really wait that long to release new music, especially when you have people talking about your name already. You gotta jump on the opportunity. But nonetheless, after the long wait and the hype of came his second album, Live Life Fast. And before we talk about this album, Roddy put so much expectation on this album, saying it was going to be something you've never listened to before, some crazy, introspective, insane music. It wasn't. I mean, it was pretty bland. no real character to it. Just, yeah, not really full of life, this album, which is kind of ironic. It didn't hit the mark. After a wait from a good first album, this one sucked, and Roddy slowly fell into irrelevance. He would come out with his Feed the Streets 3, which again, success as his first, but he'd still linger in the shadows. People would have hope for his upcoming album, Navy. But remember when he struggled to capitalize on his attraction the first time? Well, with the small buzz he had with this rollout, he would fail to capitalize again. He would make it even worse, pushing back the release date more than 6 times. If you guys have paid attention to Roddy Ricch and this Navy album, you would know that he's delayed it multiple times. This is rough. And I understand he's probably scared because of the reception of his last few albums. He's just shooting himself in his foot. And it's kind of become a big joke now, and nobody really cares if it comes out or not. And going to our final fall off in rap, it's gotta be YBN Nahmir. Being from Alabama, Nahmir would make his way up the ranks through SoundCloud, posting music there. Eventually, he and his buddy Almighty J would form the YBN. Side note, I was wondering what happened to YBN Almighty J. And apparently he got robbed in New York and survived like a brutal stabbing. This would lead to the 3 mains of the YBN group, Nahmir, Jay, and Corday. And Corday was obviously leagues ahead of them, but that's besides the point. Nahmir would explode with his single Rubbing Off the Paint. He would go on a low run of singles, dropping some heat at the time. And eventually he would have his mixtape drop, which was pretty decent. And then his debut album came. By this time, the hype was already dwindling. And I think it was just kind of a case of being there at the right time. Yeah, the release of this album crushed his career. This is probably one of the worst things I've ever listened to. We know the meme. And it became a meme. And once you become a meme, there's really no chance of recovery. Honestly, don't know what he's really doing now. It seems like he's trying to make a comeback, but it doesn't look too promising. Well, there you have it. Of course, there's a lot I didn't cover in this video. I just picked my top 4. Let me know who you think the biggest fall off within rap was. Speaking of fall off, I did a video on the man who made the fall off. Go check out my video on J. Cole's 2014 Forest Hills Drive. I break down the album. I'm sure you'd like it. Go check it out. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Take it easy.